This week, we posthumously induct the most vile supervillain of them all into the Supervillain Hall of Superhumans. 2017 is dead. Our New Year's resolution? Simple. We track down and eliminate all the members of Mattcast. We have a dream, we have an agenda, and we clearly just want to watch Matt burn in a blazing ball of anarcho-nerd culture. It's Greetings and salutations. I'm your host, Chuck Mullins.
I'm Lord Jack Mullins.
And I'm Matt Herring.
And guys, I've got some fantastic news. 2017 is over with. I don't have much else to say about that other than screw that year for ever.
Good
and
fucking riddance.
I'm looking forward to 2018. At least we can finally have some reliable robotic overlords to take care of us, because we aren't doing a good enough job. Other great news is get your nerdgasms ready, because Nintendo Power, which is the most beautiful magazine in existence.
So much nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid, this is how you got your cheat codes pre-internet days. Man, I've still got some of the posters in here too. I'm so excited. Nintendo Power, when did it end? It was about 4 or 5 years ago, right? They released that final issue, which I think was regarding the new Super Mario Bros.
Well, I know that the last time I looked at a Nintendo Power was whenever they were talking about the release of Twilight Princess.
I think they continued a couple years after that. I think they ended about...
so.
Yeah. They're back. They are
That's
back
amazing.
in a podcast format.
What?
And the first episode is out now. Nintendo of America has the Nintendo Power Podcast. And it's hosted by one of the longtime editors of Nintendo Power. A couple of the other personalities around Nintendo of America from their Nintendo Minute YouTube show and stuff like that. I gave a listen to the first episode. It's about an hour and a half long. It's good stuff. It's not going to fill the exact same void, of course, because it's not a visual format, and there's no point, no one's going to actively listen and download it so they can find the proper cheat codes for this game, or whatever. But, I think it's very nostalgic and sweet. Nintendo Power, the brand, is back, and I think it's a monthly podcast. Unfortunately, not even Nintendo announces, the reoccurrence or its schedule. But
Okay.
presumably it's going to be a monthly thing since this was a magazine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
Yeah, I thought so as well. You can find it on YouTube and anywhere else, SoundCloud, Apple, all that stuff. But yeah, give it a listen if you want that little nostalgic effect. It's Power in the house.
Really
An
badass.
hour and a half for a podcast seems entirely too long to me.
I
don't
know.
what they're thinking.
Who the fuck can sit through an hour and a half of a bunch of idiots droning on? Thanks for
You're an
listening to
asshole.
Lose a Turn. We're gonna try to bring. We're actually gonna try to bring this episode to you in a smaller, bite-sized, fun-sized format if we can.
Let's get fun-sized.
Moving on. More news about my Star Trek movie with Quentin Tarantino that I know Matt's such a huge fan of. This is no longer rumor mill stuff. They are moving forward hardcore. They have a screenwriter attached. I'm not particularly familiar with Mark Smith, but he apparently did The Revenant.
Oh yeah, that was Leonardo DiCaprio's first Oscar, wasn't it?
Maybe. That's interesting to know.
Might have been, yeah.
So he's
know.
going to be the screenwriter, which means, Matt, you don't have to worry about Tarantino writing on hours and hours of just Picard's face as he's talking into a mirror before he shoots everyone in the face.
Are y'all familiar with online gambling sites? Basically, they establish odds that you can put money down on.
Yes.
So you're telling me that the money I put down at 100 to 1 for Yoda's balls being in the next Star Trek, because Tarantino just has to find something gross to put in every movie he does, all that money's gone now, right?
I mean, the grossest part of that being that you don't blend Star Wars with my precious Star Trek, so there's no Yoda balls in my Star Trek film.
It's supposed to be gross.
Oh,
That was
so
the
gross.
point. Horrifying. He's got to
Yes.
make you, like, just angry. If he
Yeah,
doesn't
you're doing a
evoke the
good job
anger,
of
he's
that.
not Quentin Tarantino.
You know what's
God.
also gross is Chuck saying Star Wars.
I have to. Sorry. I don't mean any disrespect, but even... never mind. Even George Lucas has announced that he may have gone too far with the Phantom Menace. I mean, like, he knows that he's doing an evil thing. Granted, that's decades old news. So Tarantino and J.J. Abrams on the new Star Trek, they're probably going to start as soon as Tarantino's done with his Charles Manson thriller that he's working on right now. So
Oh, cool.
I'm excited.
Making the
I know-
arguments for me.
Dude, I can't wait till this comes back around and I get to rub it in your face. Yoda's balls in your face. That's what I'm going to be rubbing, that is. So, in further strange-ass movie news, I mean, we have Tarantino working on Star Trek, and recently I mentioned that Danny McBride is working on Halloween.
Oh,
So,
I think I blocked that out of my memory.
your star from Eastbound and Down, who can throw the ball fast as fuck, decided he wanted to get into the horror genre and is giving Halloween a treatment. Here's the thing.
Danny McBride didn't click, and now I'm just picturing Red in that position. I'm also picturing him with these 2 sticks and just ready to blow some shit up. This is 2 sticks, 2 joysticks, 2 button sticks, whatever you call them, from Tropic Thunder. This is
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Detonators.
Is Quentin Tarantino directing this? I mean,
No.
That'd be
But here's the
interesting.
thing. That now there have been several installments in the Halloween franchise over the last couple of decades. And Jamie Lee Curtis has been in most of them, I believe, if not all. Don't quote me on this. I haven't been the biggest Halloween fan, but I did see like the one that came out in like mid-2000s. So this movie is meant to be a direct sequel of Halloween 2, meaning everything else that happened in all the other films, forget about it, they're not canon. This is essentially considered the 3rd installment of Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis is signed on to be in it. It's going to take place before Michael Myers got any superpowers, which is what they did in some of the subsequent films. So he's just a freaky, crazy serial killer again. And they got the original actor, Nick Castle, to reprise his role as Michael Myers. So you have original cast returning. This is the official 3rd installment, allegedly. And I'm honestly a little excited to see Danny McBride give a treatment to something that seems so out of his depth.
Right.
I say that just because, like Matt, I just think of Tropic Thunder and and Eastbound and Down.
Yeah.
But, I appreciate having the original cast back and trying to pick up where Halloween 2 left off. I mean, it might
That's already an amazing start. I mean,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Though
Yep.
I now, because of y'all, I have this really gross idea in my head where Quentin Tarantino and Danny McBride work together on a movie, and it just takes 4 hours to get to a punchline.
You're not entirely wrong. God damn it. Now, this podcast is what nightmares are made of. Joey. I've got to, I don't know, get some treatment, I think, for this show. Jack, you'll be excited to know that development for the next Legend of Zelda has begun.
I have heard about this.
is this a callback to our Library of Babel conversation?
Oh, no.
You know
I
what
blocked
it
that out of my
is. You
memory,
can
too.
find
Fuck
the
that.
script at Library of Babel. It's all there.
That website hurts me. I always block it out of my memory every time I learn about it. Fuck that. But yeah, no, I heard about I heard about the fact that it's already underway, and I'm super stoked for it. I just have no idea what it's going to be about, obviously. But the only thing that this also tells me is there's probably not going to be any more DLC for Breath of the Wild, and I'm going to have to wait 5 years, which makes me sad.
I wouldn't expect that. I think they're going to continue to give treatment and DLC for Breath of the Wild. It took them so many years to make this. They are not going to drop it. I mean,
yeah, it is kind of their baby. I mean, at this point, like,
and they're also trying a bunch of different new things with this game, and it's working. So I don't think they're going to abandon it. The thing that's not mentioned is what platform the new Zelda game is going to be on, anyways.
Right.
Nintendo recently had a huge success with Animal Crossing mobile game and with the Run Super Mario, and announced that they want to pair with mobile platform designers and try to do more in that market. So there's also a good chance that this could be an Android iOS Zelda game.
That'd be cool.
Which,
I'm not opposed to that at all. I mean, they have been doing well with their mobile platform games that they have released.
Yeah. So I mean, just because development has been announced, there's no other details. So it very well could be just a mobile game, and that would be fun. Or it could be for the Switch or some new platform we haven't heard about yet.
Slightly off topic, but still also kind of on topic. I had a friend of mine come to me the other day and say that he finally, for the first time in his life, played Link to the Past. And he had just recently went through and beat all of Breath of the Wild, and he's beat like Ocarina of Time and all those, but he never played any of the really older ones. And it was a really cool thing he brought up. He was like, going back after beating Breath of the Wild and playing A Link to the Past, they really do keep their like the core value of Zelda and how it's always been. He's like, I see a lot of that, and it makes me appreciate Breath of the Wild even more after playing that game. It was just a really cool thing. I never thought about that.
That is really awesome. Breath of the Wild is first off, that we got it for the little one for Christmas. We were able to get a Switch and Breath of the Wild, and it is stunning. I'm loving watching her play through it and have her first Zelda experience. It's good stuff.
Oh, this is her very first experience
with Zelda.
Yeah, actually it is. She never played any of the other ones on the handhelds, and she's been a Xbox baby, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, she's totally loving it. She stayed up for like 6 hours trying to find like the best horse that she could within like once the horse mechanic was introduced, and damn it, I mean, her diligence paid off, and she was able to get like a really rare 4-star paint and stuff like at the very beginning of the game, so she's doing good.
That's awesome.
Another interesting thing that I found out today is that several porn sites took a pretty big hit whenever Breath of the Wild was released. YouPorn in particular announced that there was a drop in traffic to their site on the same day of launch of over 13%. Or no, 17%. Loss in traffic, coinciding with the day of launch. Also, there was a 100% increase in searches for Zelda, Link, or Breath of the Wild. So those that did have the ability to operate their computer while playing the game still showed up, but only to search for the game they were playing. So a huge link to the demographic, it would seem. Link. Oh god, that was not an intentional dad joke. Y'all forgive me. But so who would have known that there's a coincidence?
I fully imagine that the hits were successful. All the searches, they did find something.
I mean, I'm sure they found something, but nothing quite Breath of the Wildy yet. It's there now.
They had
to
have
Rule 34. It has to, yeah.
It was on the internet, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
That is way too funny. That's hilarious.
Well, I mean, gamers kind of ruled the world. They're everywhere now.
We need our viewers to research this for us. Go ahead and go to your favorite site, search for it, and confirm that Breath of the Wild exists with Rule 34.
Okay,
us know.
I was so afraid you were about to be like, no, we need our listeners to go and look for lose a turn rule 34. No.
Please never.
Jesus. Now I feel so dirty. I'm recording a podcast with my brother.
That
Please,
actually
no.
is on the internet. It's just not on the public internet. I think episode 5. Remember the Cocaine Brothers?
Oh,
Sorry, unreleased.
And will never be released from the vault. You have to pry it from my cold dead fingers.
No.
So gamers do have a huge impact on the internet. It's almost as if people who play games spend time on the internet. The Center for the World Health Organization is allegedly attempting to classify gaming disorder as a disease. People who play video games too long, to the point where they may have other bits of their life fall apart just to game a little bit longer. You know, in the face of negative consequences, they're still going to sit down and just play till the next save point.
That's called not having grown up yet. Like, I think all of us have dealt with that, going from being a teenager to having freedom as an adult, and then learning the process of growing up is that, oh wait, I actually do have bills to pay. I have people to take care of.
Well, unless you're 40 in your mom's basement, or basement,
Dude,
you know. I mean,
y'all are talking about different extremes, but I was able to maintain a job. I just didn't sleep. I was able to just drink enough alcohol to keep me awake while I was playing match after match after match of Smite until 5 a.m. and then driving to work.
I think we can all say that we have experience with this. And
yeah. My question about this though is this? Are they? You said they're trying to say that this is a mental health issue or whatever, or disorder. Is that besides like just being addictive? I mean,
yes, they're specifically,
that is the problem.
Yeah, they're specifically targeting video game addiction as a unique issue instead of just having an addictive personality or a lack of responsibility or self-control.
And that is so infuriating to me for several layers of reasons. It's also so profoundly archaic, this approach to classifying diseases based off the object of addiction. Addictive personalities are a thing. Escapism is a thing. I hate the fucking world I live in. I'm gonna read a fucking book. Even like whenever I want to escape, I'll have a book in my hand while I'm at a traffic light and will read.
Yeah.
Do I have reading addiction? Yeah, it's unsafe, so I try not to do that. I break myself of that habit in pursuit of being a better human being. Some people don't have that level of self-will, lacking willpower, addictive personality. These are the cores of what these diseases, unquote, are. Alcoholism, drug addiction, sex addiction, gambling addiction, there's 12-step programs for those, but you don't need a different type of medicine or program for each of the outlets. It's the same fucking root cause.
Yeah.
Now, let me play devil's advocate. Video games are slightly unique in this premise because, are y'all familiar with what a Skinner box is?
Skinner box? No.
Basically, the game Diablo comes from, but one of the reasons for its success is that it is a Skinner box, and I'm not going to remember the exact story. I think it is related to Pavlov's dog, and maybe it was one of his assistants, but it's the idea that you constantly reward something, and so Diablo 3, for example, you're killing stuff, you're constantly getting that reward of killing something, something's dropping, you hear a nice little jangle, that even the pickup gold sound is at least soothing, it feels right. You're bombarded with rewards over and over and over again to kind of influence the dopamine rush in your head. And so is unique. It's uniquely stimulating to the dopamine receptors in our brain because you're just getting that constant influx. Now, I don't understand. Are they saying there are extremes of this that need classification, or are they just saying, basically everyone who plays a video game is under this classification. That was kind of my big takeaway that I didn't like from the article. And maybe I missed the paragraph, maybe I was skimming through too fast, but it didn't seem like they ever addressed any specifics for diagnosis.
The diagnosis is a person who loses control over their gaming habits, start to prioritize gaming over other interests/activities, and continuing to play despite clear negative consequences. This isn't.
That's not a sound diagnosis. That's
No,
not a
it's
sound diagnosis at all.
No, it's not.
I mean, okay, with a book, just like you said, with a book, I can choose to keep reading the next chapter or go to bed in time to get up for work. Like that's not a mental condition per se. That's just anxiety.
Right.
Anxiety or
every time
searching for that dopamine again,
Right.
something exciting.
Sure. Which comes from the anxiety. Like anytime we talked about anxiety, we don't necessarily mean that we have been diagnosed with anxiety or that it's absolutely got a complete hold on our life. We just mean that, yes, there are elements of anxiety in our lives where we make bad decisions to try to nullify that anxiety a little bit more. And
I mean, I actually have been diagnosed with anxiety disorder.
Same
and
here.
I've gone through years of different types of treatments, and
Sure.
And I mean, I just wanted to put that out there. I mean, not that it's a big deal,
right.
But I want to harken back to whenever I said this is an archaic practice. The idea of this is a witch hunt move. It truly is. It is an ignorant move to attempt to classify gaming disorder. Specifically, gaming is the problem. Games are the problem. This is giving a platform for...
Grand Theft Auto made me do it, right?
Right, exactly.
No. I mean, yes, it will definitely have its stake in that whole war, but it's going to get to the point where, oh no, what do I do? My son wants to play the new Mario game. And it's going to become a witch hunt against game design. And you know what? There is something to be said for games in their current meta in which they attempt to do the gacha thing and the microtransaction thing and introduce gambling. Mm-hmm. There are some practices happening in the gaming world that I find less than ideal that have caused real issues for people.
Let me rephrase a little bit. So you've got the idea of labels, and labels can be a very useful tool. Oftentimes, so, especially when politicized or dogmatic, labels are horrible. They ruin understanding, they ruin progress, and this is a terrible label. It's ill-defined, it doesn't... Again, it's not sound, and I think I'm belaboring the point right now, but I think we're all we feel a little bit gross because we're noticing that this is a very bad label that they're applying, and it seems political. I don't know what the political motivation
personality
is.
Disorder, gaming. That's fine. That's my particular outlet.
Right.
Addictive personality disorder is an umbrella term for a big problem. The outlet doesn't fucking matter. Eliminating gaming as a whole, destroying the gaming industry, making gambling illegal everywhere. That doesn't fix the addictive personality disorder part of this, so wasting the time to classify it as this is a gaming disorder is only going to cause so much more negative.
Right. Again, we've had a 10-minute conversation already about what this is, that it doesn't help with understanding in any way. Even the description.
Past, before alcoholism was, I guess, I should be able to English here. Before alcoholism was considered and classified as a disease, absinthism was. Absinthism was the disease in which someone was addicted to the effects of absinthe, the alcoholic substance, and specifically there. And then over time it was broadened to, oh well, even without absinthe these assholes are still doing what they're doing, so alcoholism's now the new disease. And you had to take a step back to the bigger picture. So it's an archaic practice, and that's why I say that. it's going to benefit no one. It's only going to create an additional platform for more people to get up in arms and start a war against gaming, which is absolutely stupid. Gaming has been proven to help soldiers in the battlefield, doctors during surgery, people with ADHD, people who are autistic, be able to actually have a social life. Now, I'm not saying that spending all your life gaming and escaping the world around you is good. It's not. We all live here and we have to be able to get by, but
it's
being
a
able
very
to
healthy
diagnose
thing.
someone, that's going to create a witch hunt, and it's going to hurt more people than it's ever going to help, and this is a profoundly stupid ideal, and that's what I have to say about that. This is absolutely utter stupidity, and the fact that this is receiving any attention is already cause for fear, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. I mean, we have to know that keeping things in moderation is where it's important, but gaming itself in moderation is a very healthy thing. It really is. It's a great outlet. It's a great, it's mentally stimulating.
And it saved some of our friends' lives.
Absolutely.
If you believe that reading is healthy, even fantasy, you have to believe on some level that gaming is healthy.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's more interactive, so it also teaches you a little bit more. I mean, I'm not saying gaming is better than reading.
A lot of people actually do read novels just via their gaming dialogues. The idea that you're allowing someone else to create a mind space for you where you're being influenced by another person's ideas and the world they've formed, and you get to admire the product of their labor. Like, it's a healthy experience. You're practicing reading, you're practicing math, you're practicing problem solving, you're practicing your dexterity. Like, as long as that's not all you do every day, good. It's good.
The scary thing about what you just said, Matt, is you chose to use the word influenced rather than entertained by. Not saying that influenced by isn't correct, because it absolutely is, but you have to acknowledge that perhaps you may not just be entertained by, you could be influenced by. And
absolutely, yeah. It is a childish mentality, and I'm not trying to offend anyone. Just like try to bring yourself around to the idea that you're not being entertained by anything. You're being influenced by things. And we like to be influenced.
It's true.
It's very worth acknowledging that point in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, that's all I think we need to say on that for right now. Hopefully this won't garner any further attention. But it's up to you as an adult to be a good fucking person.
I would like to say when I first heard this headline, someone just posted it in a group chat of mine. My immediate reaction, with only about 3 seconds of thought, was the World Health Organization is out of fucking control again. There is a slight precedence for this where they just classify things that because they couldn't reach a good consensus, they had to do something, and I don't know what the motivation is, but they felt like they had to do something, and sometimes no action is better than any action that they end up with.
Next week, we induct the World Health Organization into our Hall of Supervillains. So, not that we haven't raised enough fear at this point in the show, let's go ahead and see if we can't really jab that dagger in. Words, come on, Mullins. So, this happened several months ago, but for some reason I'm only now finding out about this, and this is perfect for us. Google's artificial intelligence built its own AI that outperforms any made by humans. Now, of course, that's your tagline there. There's Google's AutoML, meaning auto machine language. It was an artificial intelligence that was able to spawn off its own...
Auto as in automobile here. Correct or not?
No, automated. Automated machine learning.
Okay. Just making sure, because the topic of conversation is that they're going to be using this for their self-driving cars.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely a use case for it there. But no, I believe the auto part of this is automated machine learning.
Okay.
The central node was able to spawn off child nodes that would then create their own neural network, and without, human creation, influence, direction, and whatnot, was able to perform, specifically in this case, it was visual confidence. So whenever you provide a photograph or a video or something to the AI, it would need to identify everything in this image or this video. And with automation, man, my stomach's rumbling. I really hope my mic didn't pick that up.
I think it
absolutely
I think I heard
did. That was incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I've got a little AI in my belly. So it's able to identify with confidence what something is in a photograph or an image. And,
so as an example, one of the first times that Tesla killed, and I'm being somewhat facetious by saying...
Are you talking about Nikola or Musk?
Musk.
Yeah,
So I'm being somewhat facetious. It was tragic, but a guy was riding in his Tesla. He was testing out the autopilot feature they had, quote, testing against the terms of use.
Wasn't he asleep?
Yes. Well, no, he was watching Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
And there was this like somewhat morbid picture of what happened after the fact of you just hear the Harry Potter theme song in the background. Maybe this was right at a Voldemort scene. Tragic. Also, like, wow, that really happened that way. But basically...
You're a bad driver, Harry.
Wasn't there like
Too
a
soon?
bug that hit the sensor or something?
So it wasn't a bug. The sun was reflecting off the side of an 18-wheeler. And
white panel truck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the car's camera could not actually identify that. There was too much reflectivity going on, and it thought it was the sky. And the car just drove straight through it, and the top of the car was ripped off. The bottom of the car made it through without a problem. But that is exactly what this sort of visual confidence is designed to prevent.
Yeah.
And the fact is that this spawn known as NASNet was able to outperform any previously human created visual AIs. And so it had a higher confidence rank, and not only was its confidence more secure, its success was ultimately successful. Wording. So we now have self-replication in AIs, and it is successful. So this combined with...
I would like to add to this. There was something very surprising to me. Self-replication wouldn't be hard if the AI ended up worse, right? And what would be amazing about this is if it was better than anything we've come up with so far.
Which it has.
Right. That is the story. That's the headline. However, it's still only at an 84% confidence rating, and it was only a 1.2% improvement. That absolutely shocked me. We are that good without an AI creating this.
We're that good with doing it ourselves, but we're already beginning to be outperformed.
We are already beginning to be outperformed, but think about the amount of power that Google is pumping into this machine. So, like, it should be able to outperform us.
Well, I mean, this is
you're talking about
stages.
Maybe 100 engineers, because you can't fit more than that on a team to actually develop an AI and have this sort of agile movement with confidence, versus let's say thousands and thousands of terabytes of memory and storage, and I don't even want to speculate at how much processing power is behind it, likely in parallel from graphics cards, but there's definitely supercomputers behind it, which should surpass the intelligence of the entire human species right now, or the processing capability, yet it only got 1.2% better. Now, I'm sure there are ways for it to be more efficient, but we did pretty damn good. You know?
Sure. I mean, we can pat ourselves on the back for what we did this week. But if Google, oh crap, what was it? The Zero Pro, crap. DeepMind Zero.
DeepMind.
the Go bot, the Zero
Sure.
version,
Yeah.
was completely self-taught, was able to outperform by orders of magnitude, and required like less than 1/8 or 1/16 of the resources that its predecessor required.
Sure.
So, if
But it
that's
still
any
can't win
indication,
100% of the time.
I don't think it's lost yet.
Are you sure?
It has outdone every Go master it's faced. It has created moves and techniques that we had yet to discover. It has essentially broken the game of Go as far as I'm concerned. I mean, human mastery of this was something that was honored and took just ages and ages of teaching.
And this does harken back to League of Legends and what they did there, or maybe it was Dota 2, where the players were watching the AI that they were playing against, and it came up with brand new strategies they had never seen. Now, of course, that was in a 1v1 situation, and even the developers said it was very unlikely they'd, within the next decade, be able to do it like a 3v3 or a 5v5. But
I think their plan is this year to try to enter 5v5. I haven't read any updates beyond that, but yeah, they're very ambitious. I'm not sure if it has any success or if it will have any success, but that is their ambition.
We are derailing a little bit, but these are fun things to remember. And it is a New Year's episode, so hey.
So this may be our last year under human control, so
absolutely
enjoy it. Here's my other concern, is even if the robots don't rise up and murder us, we're about to do something profoundly stupid with them. My understanding is that there is a blimp-style drone in development right now that its intended purpose is to be able to explore the hidden chambers of the Great Pyramid of Giza that we haven't been able to fuck with before. It's like a self-inflating blimp drone that's very tiny and just able to get into all the nooks and crannies of the dirty darks that we should never see. We need to leave well enough alone. If the robots don't kill us, we'll be sure to kill ourselves by using robots to summon some sort of crazy mummy. And then the mummy is going to take over the AI that's controlling the blimp. And now we're going to have AI controlled by some evil pharaoh that died 10,000 years ago.
Because Chuck, the human race has to know about everything. So we can't leave this alone.
It's like that sore tooth. When you have that sore tooth, you just can't stop touching it and messing with it. And ow. Why are we so dumb? We need to be wiped out and replaced by robots, don't we?
Don't turn into
is it our duty? Is that what we're doing? Are we rushing towards our own destruction and just trying to have a robot populated Earth just to stop us from raising the dark elder gods and destroying the universe as we know it?
Yeah, it's the meaning of life. It's the American dream.
Next week we need to have a conversation about the consortium formed by Google, Apple, IBM, Microsoft, Amazon,
Facebook.
And Facebook. That talks into it. One of their 3 main guiding principles is educating the public about AI because too many of them are too scared.
Educating. Yeah, I'm going to leave my education up to Google and Facebook and IBM. They won't do anything wrong.
And Apple.
Guys, let's play a round of Stranger Than Fiction.
I'm ready.
This week, Stranger Than Fiction Game Boy Edition. You guys got your thinking hats on?
No
Good.
hats.
That's where I want y'all. Yeah. No hats. Mr. Jack.
Come on.
A pocket sonar device peripheral was sold for the Game Boy, which allowed fishermen to locate fish underwater, or also play a little fishing game.
True.
Jack. Matt. Oops, I just gave Jack 10 points.
I'll take it.
All right, game over. Good time. Good time, guys. Matt. The Nintendo Power cartridge, Nintendo Power, no relation to American Nintendo Power, allowed Game Boy owners to go to kiosks around town and for a small sum, download a Game Boy ROM onto the rewritable cartridge, and these kiosks were in service until 2007.
Okay, I'm not actually familiar with that specifically, though Nintendo Power had events where you could bring in like your Pokemon cartridge and have new Pokemon
Like,
added to
transfer
it,
and stuff like
and there were events for other games like that as well. I don't
This
know
is a
where to go
rewritable
with this.
cartridge that you could go to the kiosk at various gaming centers and download a ROM, have it copied onto that blank rewritable cartridge, and play it on your Game Boy.
True.
It was also for the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom. It was Japanese
That's-
exclusive, and these
badass.
kiosks existed till 2007.
My guess
That's
was
fucking
based on the
awesome.
fact that if you could do that for normal cartridges, and they probably piloted that somewhere and probably had one kiosk sitting around in one building for an extra
Yeah.
decade.
No, they actually kept them serviced and in use till 2007.
Wow, that's
so
awesome.
cool.
That's really cool.
Okay, Mr. Jack. The Game Boy first launched in 1989 and had an impressive shelf life, with shipments being made regularly to distributors for 10 years until it was officially discontinued in the beginning of 1999. Game Boy, not like Advance.
Right. Because of how ridiculous that sounds, I'm going to say true.
You would be wrong, because it actually lasted for 14 years and the Game Boy was still being shipped till 2003.
Wow. I mean, I knew you use a fucking year to throw me off. I hate you.
I never
knew
do
that
it.
was
It's a dirty
coming.
move, but I had to once.
You're an ass.
Mr. Matt, the Game Boy Advance had a special cartridge named Gluco Boy, which allowed the testing of blood sugar levels for diabetics and awarded users with glucose rewards points to download other games.
False.
It is true. Boy, did some interesting shit. Jack.
How? Did they want you to prick yourself and like drop the blood onto the chip? Like,
Sacrifice your own blood to Nintendo. That's how they became such a powerful entity. Black magic, dark magics this Game Boy have.
Maybe we should be worried about gaming.
I know, right? Mr. Jack, a sewing machine was manufactured that was compatible with the Game Boy that allowed users to design patterns from their Game Boy.
False.
It is also true. Game Boy did
It's
some
true.
weird shit.
Yep. I remember commercials for that.
What?
Yep.
Mr. Matt, you ready? Now, if you can miss this one as well, then we'll have a tiebreaker. Game Boy patented. Take two. Game Boy patented Petacidate, a headset that would reward players with small doses of nitrous oxide as they progressed through the game.
True.
Just because I couldn't say the word?
Yeah.
After all this
I
weird
remember
shit
a
we just learned about
controversy
Nintendo.
about this.
There was a headset that would attach to the Game Boy that would dose you with nitrous oxide the more and more you played it. It was never
What the
officially developed.
fuck?
It was tested in various medical
Oh.
centers.
Remember, I enjoy reading about copyright and patent, and so I love looking into the absurd cases.
It's
That's
true.
so crazy.
It's crazy as hell the shit they did with these Game Boys.
That's so funny.
The Game Boy was the first gaming device to be used in space.
You should have had a
Entirely
Sega
believable.
handheld, whatever it's called.
What was it called? Oh my
Game Gear.
gosh.
The Game
Game
Gear.
Gear.
Yeah, a Game Gear.
Yeah,
It was
I have
wonderful.
about 4 of them around
4 of
this
them,
house.
yeah.
Some of them work.
You have one that's working. It's awesome.
But do you have enough AA batteries to make it work?
Oh, hell no. I got Amazon daily subscription shipments, like just dropping off a case of AA's every day. So, for 1,000 points, just to, bring y'all a little bit closer together. Universal Studios sued Nintendo due to the alleged likeness of one of their film's characters to that of a character in one of Nintendo's most popular video games at the time. Nintendo's superhero lawyer was able to prove that the character in the Universal Studios film was public domain. This was proven by the fact that Universal Studios themselves used that as a defense in a previous case. Nintendo was relieved by their victory, and they gifted a $30,000 sailboat named after the same character to their lawyer. Nintendo character. They also, we're talking about the Nintendo character, not the Universal.
A Nintendo property or?
A Nintendo property, okay. Nintendo character that ended up in this lawsuit.
Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
They gifted their lawyer this $30,000 sailboat named after the character, and they also gave the lawyer the exclusive rights to use the name of their video game character to name any future boats that they may own.
Bodie
McBoatface is not a Nintendo property.
It could be.
Mario face?
Oh wow. I feel like we are awful human beings, and we're making people wait.
Universal Studios sued Nintendo because the likeness of one of their characters against one of their biggest films.
Link.
What the hell did Universal Films do with Link or someone like Link?
I don't fucking know. There's so much shit in Universal. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Chuck's gonna come in with the win here. You're actually gonna let Chuck walk away with a win, y'all.
This may happen.
For 1,000 points,
Peach.
The boat's name, and we'll always take two English.
I know. I've
Y'all
been trying to remember a boat's name in Nintendo.
It has nothing to do with boats.
Property. Okay.
It has nothing to do with boats.
It's just the name of the character and what he looks like, apparently.
The lawyer has the rights to this day to be able to name any future boats he owns Donkey Kong.
Oh wow! Yeah, obviously. Oh my god!
Really? That's the whole thing.
We're terrible.
Yeah,
I just can't
Universal
believe there's a lawsuit
sued over
that.
King Kong.
But I thought Donkey Kong was a Rareware property.
No, Rare did the Oh, what was Rare before it was Rare? It was like Gaming Excellence or something. Awesome Gaming. I can't remember. Rare did specifically use that. I guess you're right. Shit.
But I know Donkey Kong's a Nintendo property now. I just thought in the time frame that Donkey Kong first came out, it was a Rare property.
Well, wasn't Donkey Kong's first appearance in the with Mario? Whenever up the ladders and everything, that was Nintendo.
That's true. I didn't know if he was named Donkey Kong back then.
Yes, the very first.
He was okay.
Yeah,
I knew Mario wasn't named Mario then, but
yeah
he was Jumpman, or actually he had some other name at the time that I can't remember, that I won't tell you because it's for a future Strangers in Fiction. But
really?
Yeah, it was created by Shigeru Miyamoto. It was a Nintendo property. It's just that I think Rare had the rights to it whenever they were just a publisher for it. Everyone was. Atari, Namco, Rare, Retro Studios. I mean, everyone's had their hand in it, but it's a Nintendo property.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my mistake. Congratulations, Chuck.
I win! Finally, yes! Speaking of wins.
All right.
I want to tell you guys that I was finally able to catch up on all my Marvel shows on the Fox network. So that's your Runaways, your Legion, and your Gifted.
Where are you watching these
FX
at?
or Fox?
Hulu. FX
Hulu. Sweet.
And Fox, I guess, right? I think some of them are Fox, some are FX. I'm not sure. But they're all Fox-owned. They're all on Hulu.
I've been wanting to watch watch those. That's awesome. Glad
So,
to know it on Hulu.
Runaways is all right. I love it because James Marsters, Spike from Buffy, is in it. He's
wait,
awesome.
Wait. Dresden Files, James Marsters?
Absolutely. The one who narrated all of the Dresden Files books, James Marsters, he does an excellent job in Runaways, so I recommend that show just if you're a fanboy of James Marsters. Other than that, it's alright. Legion. Legion is a friggin' trip. I can say that I've enjoyed it, but I can understand why some people may not like it or the way it ends. But I will say that a little cameo by Jermaine Clement from What We Do in the Dark and
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah.
thank you. And the
Flight of the Conchords
Flight of the
and
Conchords. Jesus.
The Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yes.
Wait, he wasn't in that. He wasn't in the last one. He was maybe an actor, but didn't have a lead role.
Jermaine
I'm
Clement
sorry.
plays
Finish
a
up.
major role in Legion and is just crazy and phenomenal, and I love that as well. So I would recommend that for that reason. And I just want to say, The Gifted is friggin' amazing. I the day this releases, the next episode comes out, you will find me watching that. It's super gritty, dark, compelling. It's like
No,
I don't want to.
Fox is finally doing, like, I don't know, I guess with Deadpool, they finally got it together and they're handling these properties properly.
They truly are.
Wonderful.
I would say that for Gifted. Gifted is an amazing show as far as I'm concerned. I love
are
it.
all of these shows all based around like New Mutants, or is it just Gifted?
Runaways was its own property, but it was similar in that it was Young Mutants. But that's also, Runaways was the first comic to have X-23 in it. So there is definitely crossover in the universe. But New
Okay.
Mutants-wise, Gifted is New Mutants.
The New Mutants,
and Legion definitely played a role in as
Okay.
being like a supervillain and a recurring character in the New Mutants comics as well.
Sounds super badass. I'm gonna have to watch that. Probably start some of that tonight.
Yeah, I would start with Gifted, man. It's crazy good.
I will, absolutely.
Gifted or Legion first?
Gifted will have a better return on investments, I believe. I think that you'll stick with it and love it. Legion, it's a choose your own. I don't know whether or not you're gonna love it or hate it. The first episode is awesome. It's gritty, it's dark, it's more horror than anything else. But it's also just so insane and off the wall crazy.
Awesome. Jack?
Oh, I have my wins, and this actually works out really well given this Nintendo heavy episode. One of my Christmas gifts I got from my mother-in-law. If you can't see that because it's shiny.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's
You
really
got some,
awesome.
reflective Link. They're both Link, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Child Link?
That's
and Adult Link?
amazing.
No, it's just one with him with the Master Sword out and the other one with his bow.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, a
amazing
pair
artwork
of
on
that.
light glasses. Those are really well
And
done.
like
man.
it even like at the bottom it's even clear.
Very cool.
It fades into the gold. It's really cool.
That's very nice.
I'm so stoked.
That's cool as hell.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really cool. You'll have to let us know where you got those. I'm kind of tempted.
I have no idea. I'll ask, but my mother-in-law found them and bought them for me.
Yeah.
So
Well, okay, so I have two possible picks. I'm gonna go with one of them based on y'all's vote. We've had they both have to do with escapism, but do we want the video game? We've had a video game heavy episode, or do we want the book series?
video game.
Book series.
Chuck probably wants book series. Yeah.
Book series. I'm really leaning towards the book series myself.
Fine.
So there's a book series called Night Watch with a very fascinating history. It's a Russian book series that was translated to English. The original author's name is Sergei, hold on, Lukyanenko. I actually got that in
Got
one.
it in one. Yeah.
I know. And if you like fantasy, if you want like a more adult take on, I guess, the Harry Potter style of magic, but not a school, just magical organizations in the world and the politics that are involved in that, this is a wonderful story. it was not licensed in America for a very long time after it was written, but it was popular around the world. And some amateur translator picked it up, started translating it. Eventually, he got a cease and desist, I think around the third book. And he kind of contacted him. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm just a huge fan of the work. And they're like, oh no, don't worry. You've got another letter coming in the mail. And it was an offer for him to do the official translations.
Nice.
Because it had been so popular and so well received, his work.
Wow.
So this story has come out, unlike Patrick Rothfuss and Jim Butcher. I thought the story ended after 4 books, but this guy, good guy Sergei Lukyanenko, has been releasing more books. And I just noticed about a week or 2 ago that the 6th book had come out. I was randomly at work a couple of years ago, and I just looked up the Night Watch series, and I noticed there was a 5th book out. So I've been having these happy surprises that there's more to the story. All of that being said, I've told you kind of about the premise of the book, but what really attracts me to it is the fact that it's told from a Russian perspective, and you get this great immersion into Russian culture. The narrator on Audible, I highly recommend the Audible route. He translates with this great Russian accent. His name is Paul Michael. And so almost every character is Russian, except when they travel around, you'll hear English accents, you'll hear Irish accents, and it's just like, you feel like you're maybe on this Euro trip to Asia. You get to see some of this, even maybe a little bit of embedded racism in the Russian culture from the characters. It's such a fascinating ride. They'll talk about little books that they have on newsstands, or one of my favorite moments was Shelby had YouTube going on in the background, and we saw an ad for Battle Angel Alita in the background, and I'm listening to the book just kind of on my phone. I noticed that. I'm noticing like crazy big eyes on that girl. I don't know if I'm going to go see that movie. And I hear in the book, he's talking about a book on a newsstand that he's walking by in the metro, and he sees on that stand Battle Angel Alita as a manga. And so like you get to see that a lot of these references, like, you know, they don't just exist in America. There are criticisms of America. There's all these, like, how America's influenced the Russian culture. There are jabs at Hollywood. There's jabs at Budweiser frequently.
Well, those are deserved.
If you like fantasy and magic and even a little bit of politics, this is a fantastic series that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and primarily for the cultural immersion from maybe what I feel is likely a conservative Russian viewpoint.
What was that called again?
Night Watch.
Night Watch.
The order of the books is Night Watch, Day Watch, Twilight Watch, Last Watch, New Watch, and Sixth Watch. So
cool. There was
awesome.
a Night Watch film in 2004 that
based
was
on
Russian.
on the same story.
Based on it? Okay.
However, completely different. They took a lot of liberties.
I assumed as much.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome,
That's
man. I'm gonna have
really
to check that
awesome, man. Yeah, that sounds badass.
out.
This is about my 4th time through, first time reading this 6th book, and I'm just loving it. Oh, one last little detail. You'll notice that the narrator has probably gotten a little bit older as you're listening to it, and he slowed down. I've noticed that on Audible, you can actually crank up the speed, and he starts sounding more and more like his old self. So I think I'm at a 1.5 times speed for the 6th book to make it sound like the first book. It's crazy, but it works.
Took to lose a turn for narrator hacks. That's awesome.
Hilarious.
I did forget to mention one win, which is more just nerd news, and that is Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, which is, I suppose, a sequel in the Final Fantasy fighting games. It's going to be launched January 30th, 2018. It is a PS4 exclusive, but they do have an open beta coming to North America and Europe starting January 12th through January 21st. So if you are a PlayStation Plus member, you can download and try out the City of Final Fantasy for free up until about a week before launch. The trailer looks amazing.
These are the arcade style fighters, right?
Yeah. Yes, it definitely has a lot of fast-paced action. It makes it look a bit more like one of the Budokai Tenkaichi Dragon Ball Z air fighting games rather than your Street Fighter style side-by-side thing. Yeah. It looks interesting as hell though, and I actually appreciate like the treatment and the voice acting they've done for a lot of the characters. Bringing characters like Zidane up into the same visual level as Noctis. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to try to do, but they did it well, and the voice acting is really great. Right. As far as I'm concerned, they could have done a worse job. So, give it a shot.
Hell yeah!
All right, guys. I'd like to offer a closing argument to y'all before we close this week. So we know now that Disney has purchased almost all of Fox's properties, including Aliens. So does this mean that the daughters born from the alien queen Xenomorph are now all Disney princesses?
Yes.
Yes.
We have a lot more princesses now in our Disney. True.
How many points?
So this has been
How many points did I get?
Signing off from 2017. Fuck 2017. We look forward to seeing you more in 2018. But that's it. We're signing off, and stay tuned for the year-end finale of Natcast.